If you can hear my voice, clap your hands. If you can hear my voice, then you're making a good choice. If you can hear my voice, clap your hands. All right, welcome everybody. We are going to get started with our Tracht presentation. We're going to use this little TV. You guys do not have to be at the tables if you can't see or don't want to. Feel free to move the chairs however you want so that you can see. This is going to be an open presentation. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of go item by item, and we're going to give some of our club's wealth of knowledge on what are some tips and tricks to make wearing Tracht easier, to make it look better, how to keep it clean, all these little things. If you guys have something to add, we want you to add to it, because what we're doing is we're going to share this document afterwards with all the things we discuss, and then we're going to share it out to all the clubs. So everyone will have all these cleaning tips, everyone will have all these ways to keep your shawl looking really nice. So we can just work together to have all these things. So everyone kind of rack your brains for a moment. Think, all right, what are some cool things that we do to look good? We have a couple of our participants, presenters today. We have Kathy, who's going to be helping us. Sue, who's going to be helping us. Ta-da! And then where's Klaus? And then Klaus, who's going to be helping us. Oh, and Hannah, who is going to be helping us as well, right in front of Klaus. Wait, Hannah. Yeah. All right, we're going to get started. I'm going to try to get back here and see what happens. Oh, I've created quite the death trap.
Yes.
Yeah. Can I trade you? Please go over one. Thank you. Can you still hear me? Okay. Okie dokie. Well, where's my mouse now? Technical difficulties. There we go. All right, the things we're going to cover in the order we're going to cover them is Tracht care, how to take care of your items, travel tips, and then head to toe. So we'll start from the feather and go all the way down to the shoes. All right. I gave them all fun alliteration names. Okay. All right, how to get rid of spots. Kathy, you're up.
First of all, everybody should have one of these Tide stain sticks in whatever bag they're carrying. They are amazing. You get, especially on whites, a spot, you just take that and dab it. I've seen it get blood off of it. You know, your guy cuts his wrist, whatever, doing. You get blood on your blouse or your apron.
The other thing is Shout makes little wipes, so they're easy to throw in your purse or pocket or something like that too, and then you just wipe it off. So.
Because the sooner you get stuff out, the better it is. So, I mean, it's an easy item to throw in your bag, in your pocket, or whatever. Treat it as quickly as you can. Buy them anywhere.
Yes.
So did you grab it clean?
All right, our next one, I think this is Kathy again, right, Kathy?
Oh, yeah. On whites, you can use Tilex. You have to be very careful that is bleach. But if you have, again, if you get home, you've got something on your whites, you can spray that on and rinse it out immediately. Don't leave it sitting. But that also is very helpful to allow a difficult stain.
This is just a Kathy section. Dawn.
This is a magic solution. 2 tablespoons baking soda, 1 teaspoon Dawn. It has to be the liquid, not the foamy stuff. Is it the concentrated or the regular Dawn? The regular Dawn. Yeah, there's 2 different kinds. No, it's old-fashioned when Dawn first came out.
Yeah, like literally this little picture right here of the little baby duck.
Okay. And then you just put that on your stain and let it sit overnight. Also very helpful to allow stains from wax.
You're still up, Kathy.
I'm still up. All right. This is the most fabulous thing that I discovered if you use equal parts water, hydrogen peroxide, and baking soda, so like mix a quarter of a cup water, peroxide, and baking soda. It's liquidy. It's very good for taking out armpit stains. Turn the shorts inside out, lay a towel down because it's wet. I mean, you've got a lot of liquid there. Just spoon it on the areas that need cleaning, and as you're spooning, keep stirring it up because the baking soda wants to settle out. So you just basically saturate it so that it's sort of like soaking. Again, leave that overnight. Before you wash it, the baking soda will like dry and be cakey, so like get that off before you throw it in the washing machine. This has gotten out stains. Like I was going to throw shirts out, and I had tried all the other stuff, and it always gets better. But these shirts like came almost to brand new. I was totally amazed. And I've used this several times.
What concentration of hydrogen peroxide?
I don't know whatever you buy. The first aid, yeah. But yeah, it's I've never seen anything like it. It's amazing. Oh, and oxygen.
The classic. And this one we said is for not so stubborn stains when you're not needing to do a whole lot. All right, Hannah, you're up. Come and use the microphone, Hannah.
3, 4, 7, 7, 6, 3, 10, 40.
That is it. Is it done?
Yeah. Just turn it to your mouth. Yeah.
Simple, clean, natural soap, and you still have to use your hands and a little brush and work on it. You rub it in, let it sit, rub it in, let it sit, and if you have the soap in the material, in the cloth, leave it overnight, and then wash it out and put it in the washing machine. It takes almost everything out.
Paging Renell to the front desk.
Renell, front desk, Renell. All right, this is a big one for the guys. Are you tired of those really dark neck stains on the back of your shirts? You could wash the back of your neck with soap, and it takes off the stain. Every time you shower. Every time. I know. We just revolutionized a room, everybody.
You know the refrain came from somewhere. How in the heck can I wash my neck if it ain't gonna rain no more?
All right. This one is Klaus. Come on up, Klaus. Oh, thank you guys. Paging Klaus. Klaus to the front desk. I know you have a teacher voice, but you can use the microphone.
Okay. Yeah, actually, I probably don't need this. Otherwise, people will leave. Okay, fleckfrei. Wie kann man Flecken entfernen? How do we remove tricky stains and spots? Well, has anyone spilled any beer? 50 cents. No. Well, people tell you that lederhosen never need to be washed, especially if you ever have to do any kind of testing like, semen analysis, urine analysis, blood work. You just bring your lederhosen, that works. But if you do want to remove any particular stains, depending on the kind of stain that you get, there are a variety of methods, and probably one of the most effective is you get a dampened sponge
And shove it in your armpit.
and that will avoid getting the armpit of your shirt yellow, so you won't have to use Kathy's recommendation, right? You will have to make that paste out of, what was it? 1 part baking soda, 1 part hydrogen peroxide and vinegar. And you could pour that down your drain too.
Sorry, Klaus.
Okay, that's okay. We want to make this, we do want to make this fun. Typically, a sponge is good for general stains. There's some things it will not take out. So for example, if you get oil or any kind of fat, that typically will not come off with a dancing sponge. And you also want to make sure that you don't get anything acidic, which is lemon, orange, grapefruit, any citrus, like don't drink orange juice or lemonade or anything around and then spill it, because you'll get a stain that will eventually turn that area whitish, and then that's just the way it will stay. And what else do we now cover? Let's see.
Oh, wait.
The other thing, I'm sorry, for oil, there is one trick that you can use if you catch it quickly enough, and that is to take white chalk, and you just get a powder of white chalk, so you kind of like grate it or use something that will form a powder. It goes onto the surface, and what it does, it sort of has the effect of, if you ever had oil stains like on pavement, you can use cat litter because it absorbs it. So that's the same kind of function that the chalk powder would have. But again, you have to catch it relatively quickly for that to be effective. If you let it sit, if you don't catch it for, takes you a week or so, and discover it later, that's just the way it's going to be. But a lot of people will tell you that what makes lederhosen attractive are all the stains and things that it accumulates over the years, and it develops into a patina. But if you allow that to get too much of that patina, which consists of dirt as well, then your lederhosen will get dry and brittle, and they will crack. So the best thing is to try and keep them clean. And I think that's it. So thank you very much. Any questions? Yeah.
50-year-old lederhosen.
One of the things is you want to determine whether or not you can treat leather with saddle soap, and that will at least you'll be able to keep the leather somewhat soft.
So older lederhosen, saddle soap.
Yes.
Could you repeat that into the microphone so everyone could hear?
Yes. And so saddle soap is that is something which is effective in terms of keeping lederhosen somewhat smooth and soft, or can make them soft. Now, if anybody here ever takes it upon them to wash lederhosen, you can wash them, okay? But if you do wash them, then you want to make sure you use a kind of soap that contains fats, okay? And then the drying process is a very long process where it has to dry naturally. You have to use a lot of towels. You stuff the towels in the legs and the rest, and you flip them over consistently until they are almost dry, and then you have to put them on and wear them so that you can get them back into the shape that they initially had. Otherwise, they tend to contract a little bit.
Perfect. Thank you, guys.
Any other questions? Nope. Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you. Kathy, come on up. I know you have a good voice. This is you, right, Kathy?
While we're here, let's do
This is yours, right? Yeah. I know you got a good voice. We can use the microphone if you want.
Your whites. You have to obviously starch them. I know there's people that have way better starch skills than me. When I iron my whites, I spray it with a spray bottle just with water. And I like to use this stuff called Mary Ellen's Best Press. I got it, I think at Joann's. It's just, I like it much better than the spray starch or anything like that. So I spray everything with water, sprinkle it with water to get it damp, and some of that, and then iron, let it dry. Then you probably need to do it a second time. Again, get it damp, a little more starch. Sometimes you might need a third time. I mean, it just depends on how old your whites are. And I don't know what else. 2 to 3 times. Yes.
Oh, sorry.
So yeah, I mean, that's just the starch that I like to use. I know, Renee, you do the whole thing in the freezer, don't you? Which I don't really know. You'll have to give us that information.
My mom's trick, she would starch it, let it dry, sprinkle it, roll it up, and throw it in the freezer. That just gets the moisture inside. And then when she roll it out, to iron it, they have to use less sprinkle and she'd use steam iron.
Right.
Be careful when you use starch in your ironing. You can easily scorch the white cotton. And don't worry, you haven't burnt it. It's just the starch. It'll wash out. But be careful because then you got to start the process all over again. So don't let your iron stay too long in one spot. Keep on moving, flatten it out. But the sprinkling in freezer is really just to get the moisture back in.
Okay.
That's something I learned from my mom.
Nice.
And then I don't know what the towel thing was,
Oh,
Hannah.
I think Hannah, come on over. And then also, if you're like really worried about, making that starch burn, I always iron all my stuff upside down. So iron the back of my apron, and it irons just as well as anything else. But just in case you get one of those yellow spots, now no one can see it.
3, 6, 34.
This is yours, right? Rolling the.
Yeah, the way I always did it was, as you just heard, make it wet, roll it, and let it sit. So the moisture goes all the way through. I did not know anything about the freezer. I usually keep it on my clean counter. And the next morning, I'm hopefully fresh and have enough energy to iron all my stuff. But that's what I did, and it was pretty good.
And one thing to remember when you're ironing, especially the aprons like this,
The hem.
you need to stretch that lace back out.
Oh,
Because
God.
it shrivels up. But I can make this apron grow lengthwise, probably that much just by pulling the lace, not pulling it so tight you're gonna rip it, but make sure you, and it looks prettier when you've got it pulling. You see the pattern better when it's, 3,
Yeah, really show who's boss.
Yeah, I do that. I'll wash it, I'm not ready to iron it, but just when I let it dry, before I let it dry, everything gets stretch. Yes.
All right, this is the part of the presentation where you'll start to notice I ran out of time. No pictures. All right, Hannah, for the sake of time, I'm gonna video you doing that bow, and I'm gonna incorporate it onto the slides. Is that okay? So Hannah has a way to really make your bow look nice. So if you're like me and you're like, I tried. Like it looks like a shoelace. Then we'll do a video of that and we'll incorporate it onto the slide for ladies that are interested in that. Oh, this is actually Rudy's. Hey Rudy, you wanna share?
Am I sharing?
The bags, the dry cleaning bags.
Oh, packing your shirts.
Packing and rolling into your suitcase instead of folding.
Okay. So for the shirts, a really neat trick to help with the wrinkles is to use those plastic bags that you get your dry cleaning bag in and just fold your shirt and wrap it in that. And I can put several shirts in there, stacked with a layer of plastic in between them. And it just, for whatever reason, keeps them a little bit more wrinkle-free than if you rolled it in the ball.
I still have to iron when we get to the hotel, but that helps.
Is that a picture of your closet?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Yeah, Scheffler, I think so.
All right, that concludes our section of Tracht Care. But if you would like to come up and share a trick you do to keep your stuff clean or tidy, now would be the time. Give some wait time.
You should mention that.
Come up, come up.
All right, you've got a big mouth, but you know. Okay, 3,
2, 1. You should mention that there's no substitutes. You can't go for another.
Keep the mic, we can't hear you.
There you
Speak into it.
Okay, that's scary. So the thing is, you can't substitute. Like, if there's somebody thinking you can save money, we need to go with Tide to Go. You can't go with anything else. Or we gotta stay with this because these things work. That's been my experience. So that's my 2 cents. Thanks.
Nice. How's it going?
All right, so let's do 60.
Anybody else?
All right, Johan, bring it.
I don't think we've talked about shoes, have we?
No.
I love taking care of shoes. So old army stuff.
Up, close to your mouth.
Okay.
Get it in there.
There's probably better ways to do it, but my trick for doing the shoes, I mean, obviously we're all going to use the shoe polish. Water, polish, little circles, go over it again. But my trick is when I'm done with that, fire. Take a lighter trick. Leather is porous. We all know this from an animal, it's porous. Polish is a wax. So if you allow it to melt just a little bit, it'll settle into those pores and create more smooth surface. Allows for better shine and it stays longer. Wow. You do this like once, it'll be pretty decent for like a year or 2.
That's awesome.
It's a very good one.
Another trick. So another trick is to remember not to get too close to the edges around where your socks go with the black. Otherwise it'll rub off onto your socks or your stockings. So you want to keep like maybe an 1/8 or a 1/4 of an inch and not do around the openings of your shoe so you don't get your stockings or your socks black, okay?
All right, I think this next section is going to be very familiar in a lot of people's minds right now because some of you traveled from very far away. So we'll go over our travel tips. Please be thinking of yours while we share. Oh, I made 2 slides of this. Continuing on. Oh, you got another one, Rudy, but I can share it for you if you want.
Have Matt talk to this one.
42.
That's it.
Matt, this is you.
Thank you.
I love that.
Isn't it great he gets to delegate? Wait, I thought it was supposed to be Matt.
It says Mark too. Okay, so travel your hat.
Don't leave your hat in the rental car.
Well, don't leave your hat in the rental car.
3,
Now, who would have done
3,
something?
5, 4.
This hat box that you see up here is what we found to be the best hat box ever for traveling, not only domestically but internationally. They're from a company called Otzi, and they're actually from the Jewish community for the Hasidic hats. That's what they were made for. I found them, I don't remember, through someone else, and we bought one. And for this trip, we brought 3 hats in one carrier. And they stack up very nicely. They're easy to carry. And the airlines have never questioned whether it's one too many pieces of luggage. They run about $50 a box, well worth it.
Because it's a religious item. They identify the bag as a religious item, so it's like a medical thing. That's probably why they don't question it.
Never thought of that. But anyway, so it's Otzi, I believe it's Otzi Hats, ATZIHats.com. Huh? They're on Amazon too, correct. Now they are. They weren't initially on Amazon. And again, they're lightweight. They come with a liner in it. It comes with a backpack strap too, so you can make it into a backpack if you'd like. It's got an insert in it, so if you're only carrying one hat, you can also put the insert back in, and it holds the hat in place, so it doesn't rotate around. But out of all of the boxes that we've tried over the years, this is one I recommend to everybody. And if you go to a Gaufest or any of the fests, and you see all the travelers come in, you'll probably see, in fact, at our Bezirksfest, I think it was, the last one of the fests we went to, there was probably 15 of these hat boxes sitting in the lobby with people who leave. Not left there, but being used.
Yeah, so after 20 years of sweating in this hat, the band inside is pretty much turned to like rubber, gummy, melting. Don't know of any place where
The only thing
place you can take it and have it replaced.
in the past, what we've done, there's two things to do. You either bring it back to Germany to like a hoop brown.
That's not an option.
Not an option. The other option is to find a hat cleaner.
A haberdasher.
What's they called?
Haberdasher?
A haberdasher that does hat blocking and everything, and they can put a new insert leather on the inside.
Okay, so let's open.
Gotta be careful if you do that to make sure that they don't use a stitch color that's going to see on the outside. But that's the only thing that I know of to do that. And you're right, as you sweat, it dries out, just like lederhosen. It shrinks, it cracks, it breaks out, and it disappears after a while. Same thing with the liner. Most times the haberdasher will not put the liner back in. It's too much work for them to put the liner in the hat. At the same time, it's easier just to put a strap in the inside strap in to make that better on the head. Otherwise it hurts. Anything else on hats? Again, go to Amazon, ATZI, hats, and you can order from them or from their own website. And again, we recommend it. It's money well spent to travel with your hats. Women's hats on top, men's hats on top, and again, you can stack them in there, and you're not hurting the hat. It's staying secure while it's in there. Oh. Yeah, sorry, they don't make one that big. Although I bet you could commission them to do that. So when Vancouver shows up at a Gauverband and they're all carrying what looks like drum kits, it's actually their hats.
Yep. Perfect. Thank you. All right. Does anyone else have any travel tips?
Yeah, don't.
Yeah, don't do it. No.
Drive.
Yeah.
Flat and drive.
That's cool.
Okay.
All right, we are moving on to head to toe. Now we're gonna go right back into hats and feathers. One of the first ones we have is, I think most people know this one. For storing your feather, you can store them in a tube, and that keeps it nice and safe. I think most everybody knows that. Like a stronger paper towel tube. You can get those. Does anyone have any other hat or feather tips and tricks? And this isn't like travel, this is just in general. I can repeat it if you say it out loud.
Yeah, just commission somebody to make a feather box.
Oh yeah, you can commission someone to make a feather box, something to hold it, traditional.
Because our men's feathers are not straight.
Oh, yeah.
They're curved. So he commissioned my daughter to make him a box that is the shape his feathers should be in. And it has cork in the bottom, or something squishy in the bottom that he can poke it in, and the feather sits in there. And it's made out of old, like cereal boxes, layers of cereal boxes formed around.
Nice.
And then she covered it with, I think, contact paper. But
Could you maybe send me a picture of it? Yeah, if you guys could do that, that'd be cool. I could put it in the slides. But yeah, you can make your own feather holder.
I would be interested in that.
You're all good.
Maybe you're going to mention it, perhaps you're already going to mention it later, but all the feathers, they tend to break real easy. Does anybody have a really good trick to fix them? Other than to use a shish kebab stick and put wire around it.
That's the way to do it.
So the feather is hollow. Yes, the stem of the feather is hollow. And depending on how narrow it is where it broke, you can put something inside and make like a support, and then maybe not super glue, because you don't want to glue the feather part down, but just a little, maybe a little Elmer's glue, maybe watered down. Just apply it a little at a time until you get the strength you want. But the number one thing.
That's a great trick. That thing I really.
So the tubes, like this tube, is the best kind of tube in the world. There's 2 feathers in here, and I don't want to mess with them. But when you put your feathers in,
Oh, this is a good one.
put it in with the stick first. Right? You get it in there, you tap it gently, and it goes all the way down to the bottom. So when I want to take my feather out and wear it, I am not opening this end. I am opening this end. And then I pull my feather out, and I have not asked these fronds to go in the wrong direction. Right? You cannot shove a feather in here wrong without ruining it, and you cannot pull a feather out wrong without ruining it.
Do you label your tubes at the bottom?
I open it, I look. If I see floof, I turn it over.
My brother Don has sold a bunch of those feathers and he labeled the tube, top, bottom. He can't screw it up then.
Yeah, and I think those are just poster tubes. Just short poster tubes.
They're not indestructible, but they travel really well. They're not super heavy, so they don't take up a lot of your 50 pounds.
Yes, they're very nice. And also, if you have some good lung power, you can always suck it through too.
Narrowly.
It works. Sometimes they won't fit. All right, oh, sorry. Does anyone have any other hat or feather things? Adam, do you have any other hat tips? I know you do a lot of like hat forming and stuff like that when your hat gets all bent out of shape. Use your drunk voice, loud. Use your excited voice.
That one can be closed. When it's ready to start steaming a lot, you can just kind of steam your hat and reform it that way. And a lot of us like these style hats that are supposed to have that taper angle. So if you just kind of do that, steam it over a pot, and you kind of form it, let it dry that way, and again. That's it.
Over boiling water?
No, like a teapot. Teapot.
Oh, kettle. A kettle.
Yeah, kettle, sorry, yeah.
Okay. Just don't drop it in the water.
Yeah. So when water hits a certain temperature, it boils. Yeah. Hey, don't do this. I mean, that's...
Yes.
Yeah, it says made in West Germany. All right, next, hair. Does anyone have any tips and tricks on hair? It could be men's or women's. I know one thing, we have one lady, when she gets to the end of her braid, so she doesn't have a tiny little tail, she folds it under so it's a loop, so it's hidden a little bit more when you put it up into your bun, instead of it being straight. That's one thing you could do.
You should all know that. One time our brother Don did a hair workshop at delegates, and the delegates meeting where it was. The PowerPoint presentation is on the Gauverband website. You can look there also.
I'll incorporate that onto this. That's a great idea.
We need another one.
Anything else? Yeah.
All right, if you have long hair and haven't heard
Little louder.
If you have long hair and haven't heard of the spin pins yet, I highly recommend. I can keep my entire hair up like this with just one, and you kind of like scoot it in there and it's very locked and it's really great. So I don't know exactly where to find it, Amazon, but it's good.
Yeah.
That's that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to jewelry. You can see this was one of the later slides. Does anyone have any tips and tricks about their jewelry? This includes men. All your little jangles too. Oh, toothpaste and a toothbrush, really? Oh,
Actual toothpaste,
for
not gel.
like cleaning. Wait, say it again.
Actual toothpaste, not the gel stuff.
Yeah, like a chalkier toothpaste.
The soft brush.
And a soft bristle brush toothbrush for cleaning. Very nice. All right, our shawl. I'm gonna put this over to Sue in just a second. Shawl, tongue depressor.
What am I doing now? Oh, so one of the items that I use when in the back of the shawl when you're making your pleats is you purchase a tongue depressor that helps keep the pleats nice and straight.
On the back of the neck.
And it also keeps it flat against the back of your neck. So it's not like trying to curve around your neck, it's staying nice and square. So that's one of my tricks.
And depending on the size of your neck, you might need to trim it shorter to fit you so you don't have like it go and then it. All right. Does anyone else actually have any shawl? I know shawls are not all of the ladies' favorites. Anyone else have any tips or tricks to use? All right. Shirts, blouses, Spencers, Vorsteckers. Oh my! I made one slide. Sorry. Does anyone have any tips or tricks they use, gentlemen, for keeping your shirts tucked? Anything like that? Your necktie, the thing that holds your necktie? Right? Ladies, ironing your sleeves. You got one?
One for the, not ties like I've got on now.
Little louder, Johan.
Not for the ties like I have now on, but like Billy's crochet tie. If you don't want it to pop out while dancing, it's obvious, but pin it to your shirt, pull over, people can see it.
Nice.
That's easy.
That's a good one.
All right, Ethan, bring it.
As an example of what that may look like, you can literally take it and put the little tiny button of your shirt right here through the tie, and then hide it behind your suspenders.
Oh, that's a clever little one. Anybody else? All right, moving on to meters and chains. So this is one that our group does. I'm gonna try to stand up. So we don't want all the work to be done by our chains because then sometimes you pop chains, right? So what we do is we take a black ribbon, or I have some black like twine stuff that's really strong twine. Yeah, that we actually use for the gozel. The gozel snore is the same stuff on the end of our gozel. The Schmitz. So you start at the top, and then you tighten as much as you want to be tight. You tie it at the bottom, and then you tuck it down under. So you can't see it. Everyone's always surprised when people tell them. So you don't see it, and then you go over and do with your chains. So your chains are there looking nice and not, doing too much work, depending on how tight you like your meters. Does anyone else have any other little meter trips and tips? Tips.
Use your apron. Use your skirt.
I saw this tip somewhere. I was having trouble with my meter, a little flat, always popping out. I was always having my meter pop out of my skirt in the middle of the dance, just from lifting. So I tacked on a couple pieces of Velcro on the inside of my skirt and my meter, and it's all connected. I am so secure right now. And nothing came out. I'm feeling so good. And if you're having that problem, maybe you'll try it too.
That's an awesome one.
And one other thing, ladies, always roll your.
Oh, that's a great one. When you are storing your meter, you are rolling it so it's staying the same shape as your body. You're not laying it flat. Vest and tie. We already got one little tie trick. Do guys have any tricks on their ties or their vests? I know one of the ones our guys do. Oh yeah.
Okay. Something that I've seen recently, big buttons. The bigger, the better.
Size doesn't matter.
I know one thing our guys do for their necks, for their tie, if you don't have the little hook, or if the hook is just a little too constricting, they use a piece of elastic. So they string their tie on their elastic, and then the elastic goes under the collar. I think a lot of people know that one too.
Shoelace will work too if you're desperate.
Shoelaces too. What about a rubber band? Yeah.
Okay, one thing I would actually like to point out, from not that I'm an official judge with the Gauverband or anything, is that for the men with your vests, please get them fit properly. So you should not be seeing your shirt tucking up and pulling out behind you. Get the back, even if it's just getting your back refit, get it so it fits perfectly. You're supposed to be neat and presentable, whether you're doing a competition dance or not. This is what we're all here to do. So get your vest fitted properly.
And another reason why it might not be fitted properly, gentlemen, is because you're wearing your lederhosen too low. So make sure that you got them up where they're supposed to sit. Yeah, this isn't cool. We don't have hip huggers in lederhosen. All right, Hosenträger. Does anyone have any tricks for a Hosenträger? I know most of you all know about getting the cross piece in the back so it's not falling over your shoulders. No? No? All right, moving on. All right, lederhosen. Maybe we could have some guys show where the lederhosen are supposed to sit. Is anyone wearing this properly? Want to come show it off? Come on up, Klaus. Show us that birthday suit.
All right, so a few interesting things about lederhosen, or about Tracht in general, is that it develops as fashion develops. So if anybody is familiar with styles of lederhosens far back as the 1970s, one of the characteristics of lederhosen was that they were modeled after, who remembers hot pants? Yes. So if you see any lederhosen from the 1970s, typically they were cut very, very short.
Nothing wrong with that.
So were the skirts back then, ladies.
Yeah.
Now, there has been a return to some extent in terms of the length. So what you see most guys wearing today are lederhosen where the length of the leg actually goes down to where it went traditionally, which is where? The ankles, the shins, or right above the knee. Right above the knee. Exactly. But what has also happened, if you can remember people starting what was like in the early 2000s, I'm talking wearing just regular trousers. I mean pants, sorry. That was for the British people in the audience. Okay. That is, people started wearing them really low on their butt. So as a result, even with lederhosen, what has become really fashionable, I'm not talking about Trachtler in Vereinen, but other people that would go to an Oktoberfest in München, is to wear them much lower. So typically lederhosen sit right at where, okay, if you're wearing a pair, if they come up to your hip bone, right at your hip bone, that is the correct height. If they're lower than the hip bone, then they're following current fashion trends.
Very nice. Thank you. So guys, start pulling them up. No. All right, skirts and aprons. Does anyone have any little tips and tricks? I know we have one for your soft meter. You can put a hook on the back of the soft meter as well if you have the little hook on your skirt, and then it helps keep it up in the back and you're not popping out as often. So I put a hook on a couple of my soft meters. Anyone else? All right, moving right along. Petticoat and bloomers. Wear them.
Don't wear them. Don't wear them.
I have a really, really cute pattern right now. So if you're a sewer and you want like a nice pair of fitted bloomers, let me know. I have a really good pattern that I really like. All right, this is my favorite one. My tights thing. A lot of you guys know this one. But if you're tired of, especially if you got the Veroni tights, them getting all elephanty at your ankle, wear a thong over them and then put your bloomers over that. You don't have to do it forever. After a while of doing that, the room got so quiet, you guys. I said thong and everyone came. This is my Tracht thong. No, so.
It's got blue and white diamonds on it.
So eventually, your tights will actually get more form-fitted to your body, so you won't actually even have to wear the underwear over them anymore. They'll just fit nicely. But those new tights, when you're breaking them in and like your crotch is just so low, like it just keeps falling down, like just throw some tight underwear over it and it works so good.
Okay, wait, I got one. Okay, I have the opposite problem. I got some meat on my bones. So I don't have, the crotch never seems to get up to where it needs to go to begin with, because it's got to stretch out so far on the way. So what I do is I get my white elastic and I make these little garters that go below my knee that just kind of stop them from drooping from the knee down. So I pull up my tights as tight as I can, I put these little garters on, and then they'll droop above, but not below. And you can always adjust that if you need to. But I find that's very helpful. I mean, the other thing that I've done is I've chopped off the top half, and I wear a garter belt, and I just attach them on. So, you know, whatever works for you.
I have an even easier thing for you.
Ooh, okay, Renee. You can do knee socks.
Not knee socks. Typically, especially with fashion, over the knee socks.
Yeah.
Get them all over.
Oh, yeah.
So you get the width enough, yeah.
Yes.
Over the knee socks.
Just make sure that they're white, not winter white.
Correct. And as long as they stay up and you're
yes.
no tights.
If you do enough elastic in the legs of your bloomers, it'll help hold them up, just like the garters do that I use.
Yep.
So, okay, thank you.
The Gauverband judging Tracht. Just saying.
So what you're saying, Mark, is we need to do a bloomer and tight inspection prior to March out.
That's going to be a sought-after position.
Okay, as long as I can do an Unterhosen for the men underneath their lederhosen, I'm good for that. Okay.
All right, next for the gentlemen, if you're having trouble keeping your socks up, we have, you have the little leather belts you can use, but a lot of men.
There's also a little blue pill for that.
We've really deteriorated this one. Okay. Do you want to add to that? Go ahead.
Yes, to keep your socks up. So what do you do if your socks don't have a folding over cup?
Ooh.
How long does it last?
New socks.
2 years, yeah. I use that too, and I also use just elastic bands that didn't last forever. So the last alternative, I have socks that don't have a cuff, but I have a piece of matching yarn that I just tie around the top, and that works as well. So if you have matching colored yarn, you can use that. If you have fold-over socks, and most socks that are worn with Bavarian Tracht do have that folded over cuff, you could just use a piece of wider elastic, which I use often, and then you can have a button and you can put them through a hole, and that I've had those things for years, so that's pretty effective. And in the United States, you could probably pick that stuff up at a place like Joanne Fabric.
Nice.
Yep.
All right, real quickly, we got 1 minute, you guys, we can do this. All right, shoes. Does anyone have one quick little tip they want to give about wearing your shoes? Besides, like, I don't know, do you guys use the trick of like getting your, like wearing wet socks to get them to fit to your fat foot more? All right, I have very fat feet. I have the widest feet on the planet, and Germans just have these dainty little nice feet. So if you wear wet socks with your leather, it'll form a little easier for your large feet. All right, anyone else? All right, it is time for our dance workshop. So we're gonna switch gears here. Thank you.